Share the page, share the page.
When I stop to wonder, I just feel it. Oh yes, feel it. Why we hate to see our brother? Should we make it? Oh yes, make it. So I travel on to distant lands, preaching a message to the nation, trying to get my people understand. Consciousness of our complexion and inner dissatisfaction then made we be enslaved mentally. And I see the cracking of the whip and the beating of the drum, the harsh words from the planter man, and the transporting of people to distant lands. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. I said tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? Tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? But I said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to burn, we got to learn. But I said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to burn, we got to learn.
Yeah, man. Share the feed, share the feed.
Life is getting harder. I can feel it. Oh yes, I feel it. But mostly for our color. But we cause it. Oh yes, cause it. Our minds function against ourselves and functions for somebody else. We cannot be the we want to be. They say they ended slavery, but that was just according to history. For they control us mentally, and I see the cracking of the whip and the beating of the drum, the harsh words from the planter man, and the transporting of people to distant lands. It's still on our minds, no I cannot forget. It's still on our minds, no I cannot forget. It's still on our minds, no I cannot forget. It's still on our minds, no I cannot forget. So I said tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? Tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? But I said we got to learn, and we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to burn, we got to learn. But I said we got to learn, and we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to burn, we got to learn. Dibbidi-dum-bo, dibbidi-bum-bo, bidi- dibbidi-bum-bo, dibbidi-bum-bo, bidi-
Share the feed, share the feed.
Some call it class distinction and a color. Oh yes, color. They say it's for some reason or another. Oh yes, another. But the only reason I can find of the drum. The harsh words from the planter man would be a warning to every West Indian man. It's still on our minds, no, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds, no, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds, no, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds, no, I cannot forget. So I said, tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? Tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? They said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to learn, we got to learn. Then I said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to learn, we got to learn.
Sounds of the Man, the King Starfield there. Mental slavery, we definitely still have that in our midst. I'm DJ Mauricio, and I'm coming to you from someplace around the globe, my good people. It appears as though, as per my technician, my engineer, this page suffered some kind of attack. The engineers, the technicians have been working on it, trying to restore the page. However, in the meantime, I will not let nothing stop me from coming to you, my good people, to bring you the updated information as we found them on a daily basis. So, in the meantime, I'll be coming to you from pre-recorded broadcasts. Nevertheless, it does not lessen the information that we bring to you. So, just before we get into the meat of things, and I know some of you might be just scrolling the web and running into us for the first time and maybe wondering what this podcast is all about. So for you folks who have not been here before and have not heard or understand what this podcast is all about, let's give you a quick listen.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Mauricio's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Mauricio, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Log on.
Yes, my good people, you heard it right. Each and every Wednesday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., DJ Mauricio is here live and lively to update you on the happenings in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. For now, this is a pre-recorded session which will be aired from 6 p.m. this evening, today, June 11th, 2025. As soon as we get our system back in place and our equipment updated, I'll definitely update you, the online viewers. In the meantime, let's take a run across to our sister island here, Nevis, and hear what my boy Carbo have to say to you good people.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treats. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Fungi and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over. Food all over. You got the food all over.
Yes, you heard it right. Carbo has the food all over Nevis there. And Carbo now takes orders. He does special events. So if you have your wedding, your parties, your repast, whatever you may have, and you would like to get a taste of Carbo's goat water, feel free to reach out to Carbo and let him know DJ Marisha sent you. Now let's take a quick listen to my girl, Sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers.
Girl Sandra, you know where you can find nice fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
For sure, and Carmen is right there in downtown Bastia, just opposite the West Ferry Terminal there. And Shirlene, Monday to Saturday from 12 noon until 5 p.m. And a Sunday, you can find Carmen over there in Boys Village in the bus stop just opposite the Agaro shop. Just let Carmen or DJ Marisha sent you. Now let's take a quick one back across to Nevis and hear about some strategies for business from Brother Daniel there and Nevis.
Welcome to Strategies for Business Success, right here on 2020visionradio.com and on 102.1 FM with business development advocate Daniel Arthurton. Each week, Danny will build on a foundation to ensure your success in business. Being in business can be daunting, and Strategies for Business Success can help you avoid the pitfalls. Join Danny right here on 2020visionradio.com, on 102.1 FM, and on your other social media platforms every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. That's right, Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. The time and place for your business dreams to come true.
Yes, that's Brother Daniel there over there at the Hydro Farm. Want to big up my boy there, Brother Banky, and the man Mackie Truss as well. Some very lovely farmers there in the sister island of Nevis. Now let's take a quick listen to my boy having going for us here, the man, Brother Aston Coker of 3A's Auto Services. Attention vehicle owners and operators. Your driving experience just got better. Yes, you heard it right. 3A's Auto Services, located Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, where you have tire sales and installation, vehicular repairs, and other services. You can reach Mr. Aston Coker at 869-664-2204, 869-667-2071, or 869-665-0605. Yes, 3A's Auto Services, located at Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, just above the Brimstone Hills Fortress. And you can reach out to them for emergency roadside services. Remember, Brother Aston Coker is available 24/7. Just call those numbers.
I just want to drive your motor car. I just want to drive your motor car. Drive it. Drive it. Give me one.
Yes, just that brother Aston Coker knows that DJ Mauricio sent you, and I guarantee you, you will not regret his service. Brother Aston is a very kind and generous gentleman, very friendly, very approachable. Now let's take a quick run across here to District number 4, Constituency 4, where we'll find my boy there, Brother Gijo's, Station Street, Old Road, St. Kitts. Gijo's Domino Bar, food spot, whatever you want to call it. Let's take a quick listen to Brother Gijo's.
Check out Guy Joe's Bar at Station Street, Old Road, this and every Saturday for the best bullfoot, goat water, conchs, bigfoot, and cook up. If you're in the mood, we also serve garlic bread, fried fish, green salad, and burgers. So remember, the place to be is at Guy Joe's Bar, where you can enjoy Ludo games, snake and ladder, dominoes, listen to music all night, and sip on some cold drinks. Yes, it's all happening this and every Saturday at Gijo's Bar, Station Street, Old Road.
You heard it. You check out my boy Gijo's there and let him know that DJ Mauricio sent you. And I guarantee you won't regret. Once you get to Gijo's on a Saturday evening, you will visit Gijo's on a regular. Now let's take a quick listen to what my boy, brother Malvern Gums have to say about the DJ this evening. Malvern Gums of the Spectrum Band out of St. Thomas there.
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're listening to DJ Mauricio, playing you the best in Caribbean music.
You got that?
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're locked into DJ Mauricio. Keep it locked.
Right there. Don't you move that dial. My good people, I got to drop this clip here by a legend in his own rights, a man by the name of Dr. Alexander, Garfield Alexander, who took the time out to remind the folks of the host of this podcast what the kind of metal he carries. So let's take a quick listen to my boy, the man himself, legend, Dr. Garfield Alexander.
DJ Mauricio, I don't want you guys to take your eyes off him. Remember, he's been around for some time. Let's go back to COVID and lockdowns. The gentleman came in, was locked down in quarantine, and then realized the total hypocrisy, tyranny, and oppression of the then administration during our most horriblest time. Spoke out. Not only spoke out, became an activist. And then you know what he did? Organize and centralize. And he never stopped organizing and centralizing until Timothy was gone. I don't even want to talk about the involvement he had before and the Douglas administration and the Harris. We ain't gonna talk about that. I'm just talking that during COVID, that man, both on this front, locally, and in the US, waged war against tyranny and oppression. One simple man, a DJ as he calls himself. He never called himself an engineer or anything else, just a DJ, because he understands the power of voice, and not just voice, autonomous, independent, honest, transparent voice always wins in the end. So it could be persons with unlimited power and unlimited money. He somehow always becomes the David against the Goliaths. Be careful with him. Be kind to him. Watch him. Because trust me, he's going to triumph in the end again.
Yes, my good people. So we are here on a mission to save our beloved Federation from the continued oppression, victimization, and corruption. And this evening, we're going to kick it off with our commentary from the Honorable G.A. Dwyer Astafan for today, June 11th, 2025. Let's take a listen.
Greetings. We are discussing Kristoff Harbor today again. We need to. It's critically important. Most of you know about the agreement of June 15, 2007 between the government and the Kristoff Harbor developers. There was a lot of hype at the time surrounding the news of this great Kristoff Harbor development. Promises that it would generate over 17 billion US dollars into our economy. But the thing started badly. What was bad about it? The agreement. It was bad in content, it was bad in tone, and it was bad in intent. You know what old people say about things that start bad a morning? And we started to see the consequences as quickly as 2013, when in November of that year, the developers went to the SIDF for a 16 million US dollar loan and got it. The main purpose of the loan was for Kristoff Harbor to pay off a mortgage to a bank in America. Can you imagine that? I mentioned it to you last week. The good news is that subsequently, the SIDF was able to get a 30% shareholding in Kristoff Harbor. But the 16 million wasn't enough. So Kristoff Harbor went money hunting again. And in February of 2014, they got another big loan, local, this time from the National Bank. I don't have the exact number, but I'm advised it's also in the region of 16 million US. So between those two local institutions, within a period of 3 months, Kristoff Harbor pulled down about 90 million EC dollars in loans, not to mention their debts to local public entities, about $25 million EC, according to the Prime Minister, and their debts to local private sector concerns. So you're looking at a total of about 120 to 130 million EC dollars. 11 years ago, how could they develop, how could they continue with Kristoff Harbor when they were in a hole like that? Short of money and long in debt. The leadership of the country at the time dropped the ball big time. They should have used that moment to fix the June 15, 2007 agreement, to restructure the arrangement at Kristoff Harbor, or simply end it and send Mr. Darby and his team packing. But they did not. Instead, they declared war on common sense, war on good judgment and responsible government, and facilitated the pouring of more water into the leaking bucket that turned their backs on the best interests of the people. In February 2015, they were replaced by Team Unity, the PAM-PLP-CCM coalition, headed by Dr. Timothy Harris. They presented virtually no evidence of an intent to sort out Kristoff Harbor. Nothing meaningful. Indeed, on February the 8th, 2018, the SIDF, and remember, although SIDF is a private foundation, it is effectively controlled by the Prime Minister of the day. On February 8th, 2018, SIDF signed a memorandum of understanding with Kristoff Harbor, by which Kristoff Harbor would get back the 30% shares from SIDF for the $16 million that was loaned to Kristoff Harbor. Plus, SIDF would have to give them an extra $6 million in cash. And of the $6 million, on the signing of that memorandum of understanding, SIDF actually paid $2.1 million US to Kristoff Harbor. The remaining $3.9 million would be paid later. So from a share of 30% of the equity in Kristoff Harbor, which held about 2,000 acres of land, down to 35 acres and nothing else. Is that brilliant negotiating skill? Is that sound decision making? Is that proper and admirable representation of the people of this country? Or is it a straight case of, at best, a clueless shepherd betraying his flock? I have noticed over the years that in negotiating with big business, or so-called big business, local and especially foreign, our leaders who present themselves to us like tigers sit at the negotiation table and get beaten up by these people, to the detriment of who? The people of the country. In July of 2018, the government wrote to Mr. Darby calling for 400 acres of Kristoff Harbor land to be transferred to the government. And the transferring of that land would extinguish all Kristoff Harbor debt to the SIDF. And in the process, Kristoff Harbor could keep the $2.1 million US dollars that the SIDF had passed on to them earlier under the Memorandum of Understanding. And of course, the 30% of the shares of SIDF in Kristoff Harbor. would go back to Kristoff Harbor. In that letter, it was July 26, 2018, there is mention of another 10 million US dollars, which Kristoff Harbor apparently wanted. And the letter writer promised that the government would pay 4 million US dollars of that in cash. And Kristoff Harbor would have to try to borrow the remaining 6 million US dollars from National Bank or SIDF. Now tell me this. Knowing that Kristoff Harbor had owed over 40 million EC dollars to SIDF, over 40 million EC dollars to National Bank, knowing that Kristoff Harbor had not been paying these loans, delinquent debtor, knowing that Kristoff Harbor owed other entities in the country, public and private, what kind of prime minister would still suggest to Kristoff Harbor, the delinquent debtor, that Kristoff Harbor go to SIDF, the same SIDF who they owed and couldn't pay, and National Bank, the same National Bank who they owed and couldn't pay, to borrow the additional 6 million US dollars? Now tell me, are these people serious? Do they take us for fools? And they want to remain in the public eye and in so-called public trust and service? What kind of shepherd is that? It seems that nothing came of the letter of July 26, 2018. Now in 2020, the National Bank decided to take action against Kristoff Harbor and asked the court to help set a minimum price for the sale of the 433 acres which the bank had taken as security against the loan to Kristoff Harbor, which Kristoff Harbor was not honoring. It makes you think about the promise of the $17 billion of prosperity, when all we got out of that is 17 years of misery. The National Bank had an expert who valued the 433 acres at $21.6 million US. Kristoff Harbor's expert valued it at $73 million US. The court was not comfortable with either valuation and set a minimum price of US $25 million for the sale of the 433 acres. But we haven't heard anything since. So we need to know, and we need to ask, how can these Kristoff Harbor people properly do a full development under the circumstances which we have seen over the last 12 or so years, and continuing, notwithstanding the sale of the marina? I think to any reasonable observer, it would be unthinkable if Dr. Drew would allow these same people to continue to hold back the country's development. Dr. Drew's two immediate predecessors were tested and failed. Kristoff Harbor was the crucible. It is now testing time for him. Meanwhile, here are some points to ponder as I close. The June 15, 2007 agreement exempted Kristoff Harbor from stamp duty on sales of property to other developers. Safe Harbors is a developer, so one would presume that the sale to Safe Harbor would be exempt from stamp duty unless there was an amendment to the agreements. Otherwise, so unless there was such an amendment, one has to ask whether the stamp duty, which the Prime Minister said was paid, was money owed by Kristoff Harbor to the Inland Revenue Department on transfers by Kristoff Harbor previously made to individuals. 2. Does SIDF continue to hold 30% of the marina being sold to Safe Harbor? Does it or does it not? This is important information for the people of this country, and it could be good news if SIDF has a 30% holding in the marina after the sale to Safe Harbors. Now, if the 5.7 million EC dollars paid from the proceeds of sale of the marina to SIDF was, as suggested by Prime Minister Drew, SIDF's refund of the 2.1 million US which Harris's SIDF had paid to Kristoff Harbor, then what about SIDF's share of the net profit of the sale of the marina? What about that? Where is that? We need to know about that, and we need to have our questions answered. Number 3, did Safe Harbor assume any of the Kristoff Harbor debt to National Bank? So instead of paying all the money from the sale to Kristoff Harbor, Safe Harbor would assume the debt, which of course would be a major improvement for the National Bank and for all of us, rather than Kristoff Harbor continuing to owe the bank. And there are more questions. This thing is too critical, Mr. Prime Minister, not to be the business of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And as responsible and caring citizens, we have to hold you and your team accountable to appropriately inform us of these matters. Number 4, a very wise friend of mine told me that it is important for us to know how much cash Kristoff Harbor received from the sale, not including the monies paid to the government entities. How much cash did Kristoff Harbor get in its hand out of this? Also important for us to know how much of the money that Kristoff Harbor got in its hand after these payments, how much of it is escrowed. The Prime Minister did say, I think, that there was an escrow on this transaction. It is also important to know, as my friend suggests, who was to sign off on the release of funds from the escrow and what are the designated uses of the escrow funds. We need to know these things. 5. We also need to know the capacity of the proposed desalination plant to be installed by Safe Harbors, whether it is intended to supply the marina only, or the whole of Kristoff Harbor. This is important for us. Number 6, in a very real sense, Mr. Prime Minister, this is the business of the people of this country. Be assured that it is not only a part of, but it is a vitally important part of the patrimony, yes, the patrimony of this country, regardless of who owns or owned the land down there. And it is a very important part of the patrimony of the people of this country, because what happens there is consequential and will carry forward from this generation to the next. This is a critical part of today's legacy to tomorrow. 7, we also need to know if the present administration has made and is making an effort to engage Safe Harbors with the intention of maximizing the provisioning of local produce and other goods and services and local value added generally to the marina and the vessels that use the marina facilities. Now is the time for serious and skillful engagement and preparation, and for our leaders to guide and assist the process in bringing best possible outcomes to all concerned, not the least of whom are the stakeholders of St. Kitts and Nevis. One way or the other, this matter will be a discussion point for some time to come. Please let the people know. Letting us know will be consequential, and not letting us know will be consequential. What will be bad news for us will be bad news for those who are making the decisions. So it will be good politics also if the people were properly, dutifully, and respectfully informed. Dr. Douglas failed us. Dr. Harris failed us. What will you do, Dr. Drew?
Thank you, Brother Astafan, for that very informative commentary for today, Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I would hope, Brother Astafan, that you stay focused on this matter. This Kristoff Harbor matter, there's a lot of information that is still missing. There are more questions than answers. And we need to get to the bottom of this. And not just this matter. We also have to stay focused on that prison project, because they are two of the same, in my view. Similarly, the Prime Minister campaign and those things as corrupt. So if those things were corrupt practices prior to him taking office, and the matter continues, then the corruption continues. I also would like you to add to your list, Brother Astafan, the hospital wing over there, the Alexandria Hospital wing across in our sister island Nevis. We need to get some answers on that as well, amongst other things. But for now, I would hope that we stay focused on this Kristoff Harbor matter, the prison project matter, the Alexandria matter, the airport matter in Nevis at the Vance Armory, and the airport matter in St. Kitts at the RLB. Folks, as we continue with the conversation this evening, I invite you to take a listen to the conversation that the Prime Minister had at his roundtable last Tuesday, June 3rd, in regards to the Kristoff Harbor. We're going to go down memory lane. We're going to listen to that conversation, and we're going to listen to his conversation with Jamie there at Freedom FM yesterday. We're going to hold the foot to the fire. We're going to make them be consistent with their conversation, because to every time they speak, we're getting a different story. The story does not stay the same. They always say, a liar does not have memory. But I love this saying my grandmother used to tell me back in the days. What a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive. And we are in a tangled web right now because of the nonsense that is taking place. If we listen to the Prime Minister of the day, he would want to give us the impression that this Kristoff Harbor matter started in 2017 under Team Unity administration, when we all know that this matter started with the SIDF and Kristoff Harbor back in 2005 under Douglas-led Labour administration. So let's take a listen to this clip from his roundtable between him and Mr. Glenn Batt of SK Newsline.
Sure. If you can go again to the issue of the sale of the marina at Kristoff Harbor. First of all, who invited Safe Harbor into the arrangement? Was it the government? Okay. Basically, what I'm asking is the involvement of Safe Harbor into the Kristoff Harbor situation. How did they get involved? That's my first thing. Secondly, what was the sale price agreed upon between the parties, and was government involved in that negotiations to come up with that $25 million approximately? And the other part of my question is, these amounts to SCELEC, to the Social Security Board, SIDF, etc., do they represent the full amount of the debt owed by Kristoff Harbor, or is there more to be paid by the operations of Kristoff Harbor? Let's start then and see if we can move from there.
Right. So let me go to the point of the debt. What happened? Yes. So as I told you before, our Kristoff Harbor, we had the services of Her Excellency Special Envoy Hadia Claxton. In part of the negotiations was we would go to all of these entities and ask them, how much are you owed? We didn't tell them how much they will get. They were asked to report how much they were owed. So SCELEC has to say, this is how much we are owed. Social Security had to say, this is how much we are owed. So they said, they reported how much they are owed from their records, plus they had to give the wire information to their bank accounts. And that money went to an escrow. So once the deal is struck, that money didn't go to Kristoff Harbor to come back to the government. The deal said, on striking the deal, the money goes to an escrow account that then goes to all of these entities in St. Kitts and Nevis. Because again, we wanted to make sure, because then you end up in one account and then you are fighting to get it out of that account to the government. Part of the deal. So these entities reported how much they were owed, and on that basis, the amount was paid. Right. Okay? So that is what was done. Wait.
I need some clarity in what the Prime Minister just said.
Wait, wait. Yeah, let him hear.
To what he just said.
Let us hear what he said.
My follow-up is in relation to what you just said. So it's not necessarily a round, the next round.
Right.
You just mentioned that the entities will tell you how much was owed, but you still have not said whether these figures here represent the full amount of what was owed.
Mr. Bat, the entities said the full amount that they were owed, how much they were owed. Listen what I said. We did not tell them how much they're owed. We asked them, how much are you owed by Kristoff Harbor? You don't have to say full amount or small amount. You say, how much are you owed? That is understood to tell me the amount that you are owed, the full amount.
For example, the 4.5 million represents the amount that Social Security said was owed.
Yes.
Fine.
Right. So that is what I said. It is clear. So it is clear that, remember, the entity reported how much they are owed by Kristoff Harbor. I don't think the entity has to say this is the full amount. The entity cannot say I'm owed a partial amount. No, the entity will say they owe me this amount. Right? And that is what they reported. So they said, Social Security said, the amount that we are owed is this. Okay? And so each entity reported how much they're owed, and then the agreement is made. So if any agreement that is made with any entity, it is because the entity agreed that that is the amount that they are owed, that is owed, rather, if it's an entity. All right? So that is how that came about. So those numbers are not numbers that we tell them they would get. We ask them, how much are you owed? Once they say how much they are owed, then we do it. You introduce the word full. I don't think there's a need to ask them what is the full amount you're owed. I can just ask, how much do I owe you? And they report how much they are owed, and then that amount is agreed upon on the execution of the deal so that you can get that money. And so all of these amounts. I know you heard all kind of numbers. I know you never heard about this, Mr. Bat. You never heard about that agreement, 2720. Let me ask you a question. Did you ever hear about it?
No, I can say I did not hear
okay,
about
good.
that.
So let me answer the others. You didn't hear about it. So it's fair. You asked me questions and I asked you a dialogue, and I let you go on and you question. Wait. So now I'm going to answer the rest of your questions. I wanted to hear from you because you say you never heard about it. You never heard about it because Harris hid it. He hid it from the people and he hid it from you. You did not know this. Wait, hold on. You asked about a couple other things with respect to the sale of Kristoff Harbor and who made the approach. Let me tell you what is happening in the investment world. A lot of people are approaching from one direction or the other and say, look, we are interested in this property. The government has its interest. The government has its interest. Even if the government did not own 30%, any large property to be sold in St. Kitts and Nevis, with respect to our development, we can have a say. With respect, what we can't do is try to own what we don't own. That is a whole different matter. Unless you're going to go to what you call eminent domain, which you have to compensate the people for fully based on the market price and the loss projected on their land. That is a whole different argument. And so once they came forward, because we had multiple people came forward, we would investigate them and see, which one looks most credible, which one you can have that conversation. Because a lot of people come forward. That is why when you're in government, you have to be so careful in terms of who you would engage. You will never get it perfect. There are some people who would look shiny and everything checks out and it can go bad. But you at least have to make sure that you start off on a good foot. And this was a reputable company, and we start the discussions in earnest to help to facilitate it because this government wants to create an environment for foreign direct investment. That is what any government should do. Create the environment for foreign direct investment, because if a country does not have foreign direct investment, it cannot survive properly in this world. Look at America, seeking to get all the foreign direct investment, and they're the largest economy in the world. They want all the investments to come to America. You hear the Saudis investing, the Qataris investing, the Emiratis investing. Well, I want them to invest here too. Why not? We have an environment for investments. They are welcome to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis. Everybody else around the world is investing. So we were intimately involved with respect to them. Even though this is a private sale. This is a private sale that was taking place, but we want to make sure that when private people come to the table, we create the enabling environment for them to be able to conduct their business, their private business, and to never ever leave our country out on a limb or not getting the best opportunity for its advancement and development. So this is a private sale that took place. However, we insisted that any debt owed must be paid. The entities must be made whole with respect. And to answer your question again, the amount that we got in terms of how much go to each entity was the amount the entity reported was owed to it. That's the bottom line. So that that is clear. Now, with respect to other aspect of it, because of where the deal is and where it is finalizing, as I said, there's more information to be had with respect to everything that is taking place. But the only reason why I have taken it up today in this manner, it is because Harris came to the people in a so-called national address. He has no standing for any national address. He's not the prime minister, and he's not the leader of the opposition. He's out of order. Things should be done in order. When I was the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, I was not the prime minister, nor the leader of the opposition. I could give a statement, or I can call it an address, but one thing I cannot do is call it a national address. Should know his place and be humble. He's in no position. He was not elected to give any national address, trying to elevate himself above what he should be. But anyway, that's another story for another time. What I want to stress, though, is that these entities were paid. We entered into discussions, as we enter into discussions with many people, making sure that what happens in St. Kitts and Nevis, the government is aware, and other aspects of the finalization and so forth will become known to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is how transparent I am. A whole deal happened in 2017, 2018. $2.1 million US passed from the SIDF to Kristoff Harbor in a deal worth $25 million and a mere 35 acres of the 600 acres at least you should own, because you had 30% in there. You would lose your 30%, pay them $6.1 million and walk away and leave Kristoff Harbor completely. It's giving away kind of thing. That is what it was. And so we have shut down that. The entities have gotten their money, and we own 30% of Kristoff Harbor, which means when the profits coming in start to come in, we're not only going to benefit from the jobs, and which are critically important, and the taxes and so forth, and fees and so forth, we will also share in the profit. We own 30% of it. I mean, this is what you call a really good deal. So any sale to take place, we're at the table. This is private land, we know that. But we own 30%, we have 30% interest in this. So if you sell any, just make sure our 30% is in our bank account. So on the strike of the deal, our 30% go on this way, or the agreed amount. But what we agreed to is to make sure Kristoff Harbor comes back. So some of that money, which we own as well, will go into open up salt flats, jobs again. All the amenities like the shops and so forth, going to open back up and so forth. Jobs again and jobs again for our people at Kristoff. So Kristoff Harbor now would have the life that he had before, plus a thriving yachting sector. So we look forward to those developments.
My good people, again, I don't have an issue with the Prime Minister coming and speaking to the public to update us on matters that the former Prime Minister Timothy Harris may have stepped out of line when he came with what he considered a national address. But I just want to remind Prime Minister Joe that while he's saying that Dr. Harris has no standing in making a national address because he's neither Prime Minister nor opposition leader, I want to remind Prime Minister Joe that when he was elected leader of the Labour Party back in 2022, in 2022, he was neither elected into opposition or government. But following Prime Minister Harris announcing the dissolution of Parliament and set a date for the 2022 general elections, Dr. Joe at the time, I have the post, it's in my phone, it's in my pictures, in my folders. He liked to say he screenshot things and save them. Mine is screenshot and saved months ago. Prime Minister June now, who is saying that Dr. Harris has no standing to make a national address, he, on the 18th of July, 2022, came out and claimed to have done a national address. And that's what he dubbed it as, a national address. And let's take a listen to his national address, Dr. Drew's national address. I guess his memory is not what he wants to remember. But he did give a national address, my good people, on July 18th, 2022. It's amazing how technology works. We have the facts, and we will present just that, the facts.
Fellow citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, at home and in the diaspora, our day of liberation has finally been announced. After delaying the inevitable, the outgoing Prime Minister has revealed the polling day, our Liberation Day. My brothers and sisters, we are now at the threshold of ending this failed 7-year experiment, ending these 7 years of scandals, corruption, and greed, ending these 7 years of suppression and oppression of our people. Our liberation moment is near, but it will require each of us, every comrade and every patriot of our beloved country, to take a stand in the fight for the very soul of our country and vote for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party on Election Day. Over the last 2 months, our nation has had a front row seat and made the front pages of news across the region and internationally, as the embarrassing spectacles taking place between the warring factions of what was then the Unity Concoction. Our hearts bled as accusation and counter-accusations of corruption, greed, and incompetence were callously thrown back and forth, while important matters of state, governance, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis were neglected and abandoned. But hope springs eternal in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, and together we can ensure that the year 2022 goes down in history as the year the true patriots of our country took a stand and drew a red line in the sand to say, this far and no further. Enough is enough. The time has come for the tragic story of a nation in decline to come an end. The time has come for our people to choose a better way with St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. You have the power to bring about the change you seek, need, and desire, to transform our federation into one of the best places to live, work, and retire. Never forget your power. On election day, with just a neat X on the ballot paper, you can usher in a new day and a better way that will take our country to a higher level of access, a higher level of equity, a higher level of opportunity, a higher standard of living, a higher quality of life. Today, as we stand on the threshold of new elections, just 2 years after the last one, I invite you to choose the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We know what it takes to build a strong, successful, diversified, climate-smart, and innovative economy. We know how to educate our people. We know how to manage the country's finances well. We know how to encourage business and enterprise. We know how to modernize and make the hard choices to do it. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, in pursuit of its motto, for the good that we can do, will always be the people's voice in Parliament, and we will pursue one vision with a truly unified and dynamic team in Cabinet. With our electric mix of youth and experienced men and women, with a range of professional skills, we will lead with competence, empathy, compassion, integrity, adaptability, and resourcefulness that will always ensure that whether in good times or in bad times, our great country will always grow from strength to strength. Soon and very soon, our eyes will see the glory of a joyous daybreak that we must ensure will never again be eclipsed by corruption, greed, and misconduct. I am counting on all of you to hold us accountable. I intend for integrity in public life to be the hallmark of my administration. Our people deserve nothing less. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party will fight tooth and nail to ensure that the upcoming general elections are conducted in a manner that is free and fair and free from fear. We call on Mr. Elvin Bailey, the Supervisor of Elections, the Honorable Vincent Byron, Attorney General, and the Electoral Commission to ensure that the business of the Electoral Office is conducted in accordance with the principles of impartiality and fairness and in full compliance with the laws and procedures of St. Kitts and Nevis. We call on every citizen and resident, every patriot to join us in this fight. We call on our civil servants working in our electoral office and our police and defense force to take a stand for what is right and fair and not to allow themselves to be compromised and coerced into improper and illegal conduct. We must demand that international election observers, CARICOM, Commonwealth, and the OAS be invited in to observe our elections. Brothers and sisters, your vote is powerful. Every vote represents a vote for those who deserve proper health care, those who deserve affordable homes, those who deserve social support, and those who deserve assistance in furthering their education. Every vote counts. Your vote counts. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is the best and only option for sound transformational leadership in our great federation. There is simply no other choice for representation that you can trust but a St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party-led government. Our party welcomes people from all walks of life and across the political divide to join us in securing a better future for ourselves and our future generations. The Labour Party umbrella is wide and it is large. So today, I'm asking you to mobilize support for this team. I would like all of them to join me in cabinet to take our country onward and upward. I want you to vote for Dr. Jeffrey Hanley in constituency number 1. Vote for Marsha Henderson in constituency number 2. Vote for Conwys Maynard in constituency number 3. Vote for Samuel Duggins in constituency number 4. Vote for His Excellency Kenneth Douglas in constituency number 5. Vote for the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas in constituency number 6. Vote for Leon Nathan-Nelson in constituency number 7. And vote for yours truly, Dr. Terence Drew, in constituency number 8. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party reaffirms its strong commitment to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. After Election Day, it will be a new day and a better way with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party.
Yes, Prime Minister Jove, following that national address, you had the DJ locked in, definitely locked in, because I was hoping for a better way, a better day for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis and the citizens. 34 months later, it didn't even take 34 months, much less, but we are 34 months into your administration. And it is clear that this smart aleck thing that you guys get caught up in, smart team, A1 team and whatever, you guys have not proven that to the people thus far. And for sure, not to me. You guys are not smart. Smart people don't make these kind of mistakes. My little 7-year-old baby girl will not be making these simple mistakes that you have made. These simple lies that you get caught up while you're speaking, the lies are, you're contradicting your own self because you're realizing you're lying while you're speaking. So you're basically responding to your own self with your lies. Mr. Prime Minister, I think you need to retract that statement that you made there, that Timothy is out of place to make a national address, because you did that before him. But it's neither here or there about Timothy for me. What is an issue here for me is the things that you campaigned on in the 2022 election, and you had me right there with you. The electoral reform, electoral issues in the electoral office, you call on the then supervisor of election, Mr. Bailey, and these folks. I was there with you. The people of Nevis is still crying out, still waiting for some relief in this regard. And it's basically, you don't have any interest in doing what you went in there to do, you know. Because so far, this administration that I had so much hope for has failed in so many ways. When we speak about the 2,400 smart homes in your first term, 600 homes per year, how much you build so far? 2? We are 34 months into your administration, the first term. This smart hospital matter, this pipe dream of a smart hospital, you need to come and let the people know that there's no smart hospital nowhere on the horizon for us. There's no funding identified for that smart hospital. Maybe as you get closer to the election date, you guys might try to break grounds to try and fool the people again that something is happening. But Mr. Prime Minister, you know for a fact that there's no funding identified for that smart hospital, and that smart hospital may not happen in our lifetime. But these are things that the people want to hear. Lies. They prefer to hear the lies. Because while you're lying to the country, nobody's asking you to prove nothing, you know. They're not asking for the documentation. But when the DJ speaks, or someone else from a different podcast speaks about the lies that are taking place, they want facts. They want proof. As a matter of fact, we campaign about a corrupt government. We campaign about corruption. We was able to be successful in removing the farmer administration. Well, what I'm hearing these days from your supporters is what we're making nice for. The system is corrupt. Nothing gonna change. It doesn't matter who got in there. The system is corrupt. Nothing gonna change. Well, why didn't they tell me that in 22? If I knew the system is corrupt and changing the government, nothing will change, then why we campaign on a change? Why didn't we leave the corrupt government there that you also was corrupt? We have to be serious about life. We got to stop doing this partisan politics. If it was wrong on Monday, it got to be wrong on Tuesday. It cannot be wrong for one party and when another party gets into office, it's okay. The people are hurting, the people are crying. If you listen to Dwyer's commentary about how much millions these folks from Kristoff Harbor was able to collect, the Darby family, how much millions they was able to come into our country and get from the SIDF, from the National Bank, to pay off loan in the US. Hear me, you know? They came into our beloved federation to invest while taking loans from our entities, the SIDF, the National Bank, to pay off a debt in the US. While you got businesses, small businesses, individuals struggling to make ends meet, go to the bank, they can't get a $500 to borrow. They can't get a $5,000 to borrow, but this is millions. Millions that was given to these individuals. What kind of leadership we have in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts Nevis? These people was able to run up millions in electricity bill, I understand. While if you oil $25 to scale a regular man, they cut off your lights, you know. If you don't pay your utilities, they cut them off. You don't pass $100, they cut them off. As a matter of fact, Flow is a private entity. If you don't pay your internet or whatever on time, they don't let you pass 2 months, you know, they shut you down. So why is it these individuals are allowed to run up these millions and get it right off? Is something I am missing? Because somebody need to tell me what's going on, you know. Somebody need to explain to me what I am missing. So, if everybody is saying it's smart, like the government, I'm the dumb one, I don't understand what's going on, let me know. But let's continue. The Prime Minister had his round table on June 3rd. He gave one story about the Kristoff Harbor. Well, he had another event yesterday on Freedom FM, you know, with Jamie. And I would like you guys to take a listen with me, my online viewers, because the conversation continue in a different way. And by the end of this clip, you're going to find out that while the Prime Minister was willing to throw out names about who was in the negotiating room, who was at the negotiation table last week, Tuesday, a week later, he don't want to call the names of the people that was in the room. So let's take a listen together.
And the last one I want to touch on today, as we are pouring progress, is the Kristoff Harbor matter. which has been a matter that, a lot of questions have been asked about. Let me first start off, as I started off before, and say that the St. Kitts and Nevis government did not own land at the Southeast Peninsula. Let me take people back a little bit in history. We remember during the years of our first national hero, one of his major acts was to reclaim the sugar land. And he reclaimed the sugar land, which was eventually paid under the Simmons administration when negotiations were concluded. At that time, there was a lot of noise about he taking back people's land and so forth. But his argument at that point is that this sugar land that the people are working on, how come they don't have any access to it? And so he made that revolutionary decision, which has resulted in our people getting land here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So the simple matter is to say, and I want people to know, that this government or any other government did not own land at Southeast Peninsula. The land was owned and majority owned by private owners. I want to say it again, because there's some talk going around that government is selling off government land. There's no land over there that really belongs to the government. It was always private land. So when Kristoff Harbor set up, Kristoff Harbor bought private land. I want to make that absolutely clear. It is important that I say that. When we got in 2022, we met a secret deal between Darby and the government under the Timothy Harris administration. The people did not know about it. It is only known because I have made the information available to the people. And a letter that came from the then chair was released. Now I want to look a little bit at that letter. Why do I want to look at that letter? I think it's important that our people understand that the deal or the agreement was made and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis was never informed. They just did not know that there was a deal that was made with respect to Kristoff Harbor. So when I hear, for example, the former Prime Minister Timothy Harris out there saying that this is so bad, I wonder if he forgot that he made a secret deal and did not inform the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. This deal, of course, we met it there and we decided we will not go through with that deal because it was not in favor of our people. So what did this deal say? This deal sought to take SIDF, St. Kitts and Nevis, out of the agreement with Kristoff Harbor or Buddy Darby. We had, in previous time, bought 30% of Kristoff Harbor with about 16 to 17 million US dollars. It was not a loan. It was an investment. Remember, there was a big argument coming up to the 2015 election that we took our money and gave it to Kristoff Harbor. You remember that well. It was not a loan. It was an investment that gave us 30% stake in the whole development.
So this was a part of the 2005 arrangement?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So the 2005...
Because it has been a wide period of time.
Right.
So, yeah.
So the 2005 arrangement was what established that Kristoff Harbor can exist.
Yes.
Right. Which, of course, I wasn't even close to politics. I was just wrapping up my medical degree. Exactly. From Cuba. And there are those who are talking who were actually in the room when these things were being discussed and now acting as if they were not in the room. I want to say that clear.
Okay.
That's the 2005 agreement. In the 2013 14 agreement, when Kristoff Harbor went through some financial issues because the Darby family had some internal issues that affected the funding and the financing of the project, the SIDF stepped in and bought 30% of the development with 17 million US dollars.
Okay.
It was not a loan.
Okay.
It was an investment for 30%. What does that mean? If 100 acres existed,
You
and
own
you
30
own
acres.
30. You own 30 acres. That is what I'm simply saying, because it was to make sure that the project did not flop. Had the project flopped, it would have been devastating for St. Kitts and Nevis. We just have to admit that. And so I think the 30% buyout or investment was to help the project to continue, and it continued for some time after that. And for some time, Kristoff Harbor could not attract new investment, though it was a private setup. When we went in 2022, what we found was a secret deal that was hammered out between the Timothy Harris administration and Kristoff Harbor. The country did not know. Nobody was told. We found it. And when I found that deal, I simply say that we are not going to agree to this deal. Let me tell you what happened. What happened with this deal is that, in essence, they were saying that to get the SIDF out completely, that they would be given 35 acres of land. 35 acres, you know. So you're going from 30% of the property to only 35 acres of land. 30%, let's say it was 2,000 acres of land. 30% would put you about 600 acres of land. Under this Timothy Harris secret deal, Timothy Harris-led administration gave up all of this. That is what the deal, and I'm going to read the correspondence for you. We have the agreement, and I'm going to read the email so that we are all clear. So they accepted 35 acres of land valued at $25 million US. So how they struck the deal? They said the stake of the SIDF is equal to $19 million, because SIDF would have had invested the $17 million and probably increase it to $19 million if there were anything like profit or anything to be had. That is crazy. You can't go from investing $17 million for 30% of the property to now tell me you're going to just give me back my money. That doesn't work. If you and I start a business and you put in enough money for 30%, but the business was at $100, and now the business is at $1 million, you don't get back your $100. Your $100 now increase to be 30% of that $1 million, which now becomes $300,000. That is why people invest. Because when you invest and the business grows, there's a multiplier effect. It doesn't base on the exact amount you put in, it based on the percentage that you own. That is why people invest. And that is why, how can you say, just give me back my money? No, you can't do that. I didn't give you a loan. If I give you a loan, you give me back my money with interest. I made an investment to own 30% of the property, which if 2,000 acres are there, 600 acres belong to me if you're going to sell the 2,000 acres. That's the bottom line. That was the worst deal ever. A horrible deal. That type of deal should not exist. So that is the worst case. And guess what? The people of St. Kitts and Nevis did not know about it because it was hidden from the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So I want us to go in stepwise. And we say we're not accepting that. But this is what happened under the Harris administration. So they took their $19 million, almost the exact amount they put in as if they put in a loan. They negate the fact that 600 acres would have belonged to them if it was 2,000 acres because they own 30%. And now they're saying 35 acres of land is worth $25 million US. So now the agreement now for the government to get that 35 acres was to pay Kristoff Harbor $6 million US, of which they had already paid $2.1 million. So when we met, we said no.
So the payments had started?
Yes, the payment had started. Yes, the payment had started. They paid the $2.1 million US, and they were supposed to pay the rest to complete the $6 million and only get 35 acres when we were entitled to 30% of whatever it was. Because that is what our investment was. This was a horrendous deal, and that is why it was done in secret, because they must have figured that if the people found out that this deal had gone down, the people would have rejected it. But the people could not have rejected it because the people did not know.
That is why I asked the question, where was the transparency? How can the very person who hid it from the people and made this horrendous deal come now and speak about transparency? That is, in my estimation, and anybody's estimation, political hypocrisy. This is downright corrupt. It is corrupt. You can't rob the people of the 30% stake in this large project when we would have invested to get 30% of it and only take 35% and now taking up $6 million from the people and take that now to actually pay for 35 acres of land at the tune of 25 million US dollars. So you know how much we would have lost? 600 take away 35. If we're going at 600 at a minimum, it's 2,500 acres. Let's say 2,000 acres were there. That means we are losing over 500 and something acres that belong to us to take 35 acres and pay the same people 6 million. You know what I said? No deal. And we won back with money. We got back ours $2.1 million. It went back to the SIDF last week. The SIDF got back its 2.1 million US dollars because that deal can't work. That is the worst deal ever. I'm going to give up 30% stake for you to give me back my money as a loan and then still ask me to pay $6 million for 35 acres when if I say I want my 30%, I will be getting at least 600 acres of land. So anyway, I just wanted to bring the people to that and to show the hypocrisy of Timothy Harris. Because he hid it from the people. So this old talk that is happening, that he is giving, the people need to ask him why you didn't tell us what you did if you were so transparent. But instead you hid it from the people and now the truth is coming out. So let me tell you what we did. So we got back our $5.7 million last week. It's in the SIDF account. That $2.1 million equal 5.7 million EC dollars. We got it back because the deal is off. We still maintain our 30% stake in Kristoff Harbor. That is supposed to make sure we can decide what we want to do if we want to make it into shares and sell the shares to our people. That 30% belongs to us. We have a stake in that. Whereas we would not have had any in such a large development that will be one of the best marinas in the whole of the Caribbean after the new company comes in, which I'll speak about in a second. And so we got back our money. In addition, with the agreement that was made recently, I said all the institutions you owe, all the government institutions you owe, you need to pay them. Otherwise, there is no deal. Give us back our 30%. Give us back our $5.7 million, which is 2.1 million US dollars, which we got back all of that. And in addition to that, I want to make sure that all the government entities that are owed, that they are paid. And so the question was asked, how much do you owe Skelec? Skelec had to say how much is owed. How much do you owe Social Security? Social Security. So they send the amount owed to them along with the wiring information. So they have all received their money. All of them have received their money. And I will point out some of the monies here to just tell you how much they got. So this was a big, big, big deal. We got back our 30%. We got back our 2.1 million US dollars. And all of the government entities that were owed, all of them were paid their money. And so I'm very, very happy for that at this particular time. So now, who got into Kristoff Harbor? Who got into Kristoff Harbor is Safe Harbor. Safe Harbor is the largest marina company operating around the Americas and so forth. The Kristoff Harbor will become a super yacht destination. The super yachts are the very large yachts. All of a sudden, St. Kitts is now in the top of the top when it comes to international yachting. Our name is already mentioned in the super yacht magazine or digest around the world. Look for it, because when we put out the press release was printed in the super yacht magazine. I mean, we have gone into a different category. This will provide jobs, revenue for the government. This alone will put St. Kitts and Nevis on the map like no other investment opportunity we have had in this country over the last 50 years or so. This one, just because this will be transmitted across the world as St. Kitts and Nevis has now joined
the illustrious group of destinations for super yachting. That is tremendous. And therefore, that is something that we need to celebrate. And so at the end of the day, we got back our 30%. We got back our 2.1 million US dollars. We got our money that were owed to all the government entities, and we got the best marina company in the world. I think that's a good deal. That's a good deal. That's a solid deal. And I can tell you, people are calling me from around and others, how did you get Safe Harbor in St. Kitts? How did you get this deal done? It is because I think people are trusting this government. People recognize that this is a progressive government that wants to do real, open and transparent business. And that is why I made a statement and did a press release, because unlike what took place on the Timothy Harris administration, where the deal, which was a bad deal, a corrupt deal in my estimation, and I'm not putting any blame on the investor. All investors will always seek to get the best deal they can get. It is up to the government to establish what would be the parameters of that deal so that our country can get the best outcome. This is foreign direct investment. Safe Harbor is here presently with 15 of their top people looking at the harbor, getting it ready for the yachting season in November. They're going to put in desalination plants, do a lot of work over there to get it ready to make sure. But the most important thing is the traffic and the name recognition. St. Kitts is our name, St. Kitts and Nevis. That name has gone way up because now everybody is saying in the Caribbean, we are heading to the super yacht facility at the Southeast Peninsula, which is Kristoff Harbor. So I just wanted to put there, again, I will just go over quickly. One, we never owned land at the Southeast Peninsula. That was always private. So the talk about giving away your patrimony does not apply here. It was never owned by the people. It was owned by private Kittitians and Nevisians, and they sold their land on the private market. That's one. Secondly, the investment, the first agreement that was made, I met that agreement there, which is binding, has nothing at all to do with me. Thirdly, the $17 million that was given in the 2013 or so was an investment, not a loan. So the SIDF would own 30% of Kristoff Harbor. Fourthly, there was a secret deal between the Timothy Harris administration and Kristoff Harbor for 35 acres of land at a cost of $25 million, and $6 extra million was to be paid to Kristoff Harbor. We have retrieved that money, plus retain our 30%, plus in addition to all of that, all of the government-owned entities were paid to the tune of 25 million EC dollars to settle all debts, whether it is SCELEC, whether it is Social Security, whether it is the central government, wherever debts were, they were settled. So this is what I will call a great deal for our country, and we will become a premier yachting destination. In addition to our cruise, being a cruise destination, we are now in the league of the yachting destinations. And
my good people, as I listen to that presentation from the Prime Minister, I just have to laugh to myself, because now that I have first-hand experience with the Prime Minister and his lies, and I can speak truth to power, because until that day of May 13th, 2025, when I heard the Prime Minister reading out a WhatsApp message that I sent to him about the documentary that I viewed in regards to the CBI, and he tried to make it look like somebody just trying to extort him, the way he make his presentation instead of being honest with the people. There is nothing the Prime Minister can say right now without providing the facts that I can believe, because there's so much missing information that he's giving. He's jumping around trying to put up this cloud like everything is okay. I'm going to drop another clip, because this clip is going to speak volumes. Last Tuesday at the round table, the Prime Minister volunteered this Claxton lady to be in the room of negotiation. the entire community have been asking, how are you going to have just an individual having this kind of negotiation? What happened to the SIDF board? What happened to the AG? What happened to the DPP? Whoever is involved in these things? And the Prime Minister is yet to answer the question. But during his event on Freedom FM yesterday, apparently someone sent in a question, and Jamie read the question to the Prime Minister. Now let's listen to his response.
With all due respect, and I'm going to read the question exactly as it is. With all due respect, Jamie, this isn't a sermon, it's a public accountability moment. Ask him who else was in the negotiation room, or was it just a Hadia?
Right, I don't want to, I don't know who asked the question. I will simply say that Kristoff Harbor, listen, Kristoff Harbor has a board. I mean, SIDF has a board. Mm-hmm. The board has to be involved with respect to the discussion. Okay? So the board, if they want to know who else was involved, the board was involved.
Again, this is where if we want to play blind and don't want to accept the fact that we have a serious problem with this Prime Minister, our country is going down in flames, is up to you. I am not here to try and change nobody's minds. I am not here to ask anyone to choose sides. All I'm here to do is to present the facts and let you, the people, make the decision. Now, the Prime Minister did something in that presentation there on Freedom FM. I don't know if the Prime Minister realized what he's doing to himself and to our beloved Federation. But there's something called quicksand. And to every time the Prime Minister opens his mouth, he's sinking deeper and deeper in this quicksand. I tried my best when I had the opportunity to point out to the Prime Minister he needs to cut out his lies. Stop going on these social media podcasts or radio stations or whatever, presenting lies. Eventually it's going to come back to haunt you. Now, look at where we are because of this bullhead Prime Minister. Now, for me, I asked the question before to a member of Parliament. I asked them if they realize what's going on, what is happening to the country. And that individual said to me, Marisha, we got to protect Dougie. As I said before, I don't know what they have to protect Dougie from. But where I'm concerned, no one man would bring in a whole country over. The Prime Minister need to come clean. He was put there to lead the country. And if you listen to some of the things he have said, there's another clip here that I have to play later on if I have the time. But he spoke about for the good that we can do. So on the 13th of August 2022, you guys went into Warner Park and you took an oath of allegiance to a foreign power, the King and Queen of England. You took an oath to uphold the Constitution. You took an oath to defend the country. And finally, you took an oath of secrecy. You guys then went into Parliament, or in Cabinet to be corrected. And during your time in Cabinet, certain things became knowledgeable. And instead of you all defending the country, defending the people, uphold the Constitution as you took your vote to do, you guys decided to take a vote to protect our colleagues. And that is why we are where we are. We are not here because the Labour administration have not done some good. We are here because of the lies, the deceits, and trying to pull wool over the citizens' eyes. I told you guys from day one. I said it to you on this podcast, Mr. Prime Minister. Whatever you do not go in there and do the same like the farm administration or worse. Because when the DJ come back, it's going to be harder than how I went after the farm administration. You said to me, that will never happen. You could never be as bad as Timothy. The Prime Minister, I can say to you first, an experience from me, Not that you are as bad as Timothy, but you are worse. You are worse in your operations, in your lives, in your actions. And the country is hurting to the point where the people are in such a state of mind that they're not even realizing what is happening to them. It's like you take a hammer and hit them over the head. And even though they knock out cold on the ground, when they wake up, they still don't believe somebody hit them in the head. That is the situation with some of our citizens that claim to support the Labour administration. They are brain dead, politically blind. Now, Mr. Prime Minister, you have made some very serious accusation in that statement on Freedom FM yesterday, June 10th, while speaking to Jamie. Your statement was whatever arrangement that was made between Buddy Darby, a U.S. citizen, and former Prime Minister Timothy Harris was a corrupt deal, is a corrupt deal. I am wondering if you, Prime Minister Joe, understand what you just did. Mr. Prime Minister, you just opened the genie bottle, you know. The genie is out. That statement that you made there, Mr. Prime Minister, that there was a corrupt deal, corrupt arrangement between Buddy Darby and the former Prime Minister, opens the door for any whistleblower, whether one who is currently registered or one who is willing to walk into the U.S. Justice Department or the U.S. State Department and file a claim about the corruption between Safe Harbor, Buddy Darby, who is a U.S. citizen who lives in the U.S., and our former Prime Minister or any minister in the Caribbean with this kind of investment. That opened the door for a serious investigation, which I know will put some serious setback on whatever operations you guys are trying to do there at Kristoff Harbor. By extension, will affect the people, the country, sorry, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And basically, let me put it in terms for you to understand, because I know you might not be the smartest person, but I know you understand when I speak. Basically, in your last two interviews, you have accused the former Prime Minister Timothy Harris of a corrupt deal with Kristoff Harbor. Legal meaning you are accusing a U.S. citizen. I understand his name is Charles Buddy Darby of having corrupted Timothy Harris, a former Prime Minister. Since you made this strong statement, why did you continue to business with this man? If these things are corrupt, if they already present themselves as corrupt people, why did you continue these conversations, these agreements with Mr. Darby or Kristoff Harbor if you claim they are corrupt? Where is the Attorney General in this matter? Where is the DPP in this matter? With the millions that is due to the various entities on St. Kitts Nevis and whoever else. You spoke about doing a televised court hearing for some $20 million that was missing from Development Bank from one of our citizens. I've been asking, what would it cost the country? What is going to cost the taxpayers for this televised court hearing? Is it going to bring back the 20 million plus expenses, or this going to be used just as a political propaganda for the next general election? Mr. Prime Minister, you spoke about some 400 million gone down the drain. And the question I asked, then I'm asking it again. Is $20 million that you say gone missing from Development Bank is more than the $400 million that is missing? Because did you hear waiting for the answers, you know? I'm only asking the question. Every one of you as Prime Minister, from Douglas to yourself, you, Timothy Douglas, have said to me when I ask questions, you all are open to answer any question, ask the question. You all believe in transparency. But whenever questions are asked, you guys get upset. You guys want to see the back of the individual that are asking these questions. So, Mr. Prime Minister, the question to you is, you are talking about extortion of 40 to 100 million, and you're going to take it to the UN, and you're going to take it to the biggest court, and you're going to this, and you're going to that, which you know is bullshit. It's all fake news that you spread. Why is it that this corrupt deal that you claim you found, the letters are there, the information are there between Timothy and Buddy Darby, why there's no investigation? Why nothing was turned over to the DPP and the Attorney General to do investigation? Well, I'm going to tell you something. Whether you want to believe it or not, you all cannot change the information that was spoken. Not only I have it on video and audio, there are other individuals that have this information. And I could guarantee you, you guys will be hearing from the US State Department or Justice Department in regards to some investigation. That is my view. I don't see this matter with you accusing a US citizen, an investor, the likes of Safe Harbor and Kristoff Harbor, to be having corrupt arrangement in St. Kitts and Nevis. And right now, they are tracking the Chinese and everybody else with the prison project. I don't see them letting this one slide, Mr. Prime Minister. So I think you just put your foot in your mouth with this one, and I wait to see where the chips will fall on this one. May God help us, and may God help the citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, because this country is going down to hells under your leadership, Mr. Prime Minister. I can only speak honest. As I said to you in our previous conversations, I am here to support you. First, I'm here to thank God for giving me the health and strength and the knowledge to know the things that I have experienced in life. Second, to do what I can do for my beloved Federation, St. Kitts Nevis and its citizens. But Mr. Prime Minister, I think you dropped the ball and hold on to the wrong people. Because while I was trying to keep you on the right track, you allow people to lead you down the wrong way for their benefit. And to your demise, they might get a couple of dollars. You may be gone as Prime Minister, but God is someone that is a just God. I have seen many people with millions and watch their health deteriorate, where they just lie there like a vegetable, cannot enjoy their wealth. Does it really worth it? The kind of monies that your politicians are taking and putting it in the wrong places, for whatever reason, does it really worth it at the end of the day? For these things that are happening to our beloved Federation, to our country. I have advised you, Mr. Prime Minister, come to the country. Tell the country the truth. I will forgive you once you do that. Don't worry about the DJ. The DJ is good. The DJ is okay. I want to get our country back on track. When I campaigned and supported you in 2022, that is what I was hoping for. I look at you as the new hope for our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Today, I am concerned for you, Mr. Prime Minister. I am concerned for the people of our beloved Federation. I am of the view that whatever is taking place with you right now, Mr. Prime Minister, is not just of your doing. You are not the person that I met. You are not the person that I have been communicating with. And I am hoping that there's some turnaround at some point in time so that whatever help you may need, you get that help. Because our country depends on you doing the right thing, Mr. Prime Minister. There is another clip here that I want to drop. And this clip was from a few weeks ago with the groundings there with Jamie, Sam Kanda, and my cousin Dr. Martin. And like I said before, I have no problem calling them out, you know. But I want to thank this caller who called into Freedom FM and started the conversation, because I know these guys, they spin so much for you, Mr. Prime Minister, that they would never have started a conversation on their own. And the problem we have here is this. These are the guys you take advice from. The people that are misleading you. The people that try to bullshit the public. But the public is waking up. I'm getting the phone calls. I'm getting the messages. I'm getting the support with folks asking me, please, they cannot come public at the moment because they're afraid of some kind of backlash and the victimization of themselves or the family that may be working for government. But they asked me to continue to come and bring the facts to the general public, which I will continue to do. No matter what, I will continue to do that. So let's take a quick listen to this clip from Freedom FM a few weeks ago, because, Mr. Prime Minister, you will hear Sam Kanda, Jamie saying there's only one show seat in St. Kitts, it's constituency 6. Sam Kanda challenger telling her no. There's more. When Jamie asked him to tell her where the others, he said constituency 3 and 6. We are under that constituency 3 is one of the deadest constituency in the Federation. Ain't no chance of that getting reclaimed by the Labour Party. Not unless my partner Conway is going to do something different. So we fought to assist you guys into getting into office with 6 seats. 1 seat majority at the moment. And today, 34 months later, and we're struggling to know whether or not we could get 2 seats. That's a problem that was inflicted by you guys. Self-inflicted. Not the DJ. No matter how much you all go out and try to distort and attack my character, will not change the fact that you guys have screwed up and continue to screw up. And if somebody in that camp don't jerk the train and say stop, turn around, let's revisit, then I guess you guys really plan not to win a second term, because that's the road you guys on. So let's take a quick listen to this clip.
Good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon to everyone. I just want to be the devil's advocate at this moment. Sam, Dr. Martin, and Junie, the 3 big guns.
And Junie?
Yeah, and Junie Labor.
Oh.
You all name, I was listening to a tape, and you all name were called, mentioned by DJ Maurice Shaw, saying that rather than defending the country, the people, you all are defending labor. Labor. So I thought I would get a little thing to that, you know, but I understand. Okay. Oh, yes. What is your take on that?
Okay.
Well, hold on. What evidence? What evidence was provided?
No. Okay, go ahead. I will make a response.
What evidence?
We ain't got no time for this
we
afternoon.
don't. Okay, next week.
Yeah, next
I
week.
think that needs a full afternoon discussion.
But
Right,
let me just tell you.
We can't do this in how many?
Yeah.
We can't do this in 11 minutes.
Let me just tell you, mate. Right?
I'm going to remind you all.
No. Let me just tell you something about Sam here, right?
Yes, Sam. Yes.
There's a quotation from Mark Twain, who said at all times.
Let me hang up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mark Twain says at all times, people must defend their country and their people. They must support their country and their people. And they support a political party when the party deserves that support. And that's me. At all times, I'm defending and supporting my country.
Last week, when Junie this was chairing, he introduced us with certain adjectives. One of them was patriot.
Right.
That's all I have to say. And this is Patrick Martin.
Okay. The lines are open for two minutes. You can call in at 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546. We're going to go to the comments on our social media feed. Let's see if there are any comments. Please, you don't waste your time on that. Right, that's the first comment I'm seeing. I don't know on what. Someone says, big mistake by Sean and Mark, big political blunder to give Timothy prime ministership with 1 seat. What about what's going on with the saga with DJ Marisha and the prime minister? Any comments on that? We ain't got no time for that this afternoon. Sorry, we don't have the time. We gonna soon have to order new politicians from Amazon because most these, no bad. Jamie said you're not going to address Labour turning where DJ me? Well, I don't understand why people want to mix me. No, I'm not going to address it. I don't have any information on it to address it. Somebody said Batcher used to like to ban any song that not favored by his government. Lord boy, you like mix up, Mark need to end. Don't care who they bring, Labour Party will win the next election. Jonel did not win the constituency fairly, and that is why after a measly 2 years he lost badly. The lockdown was really good for his political career. Okay. And that is all. Those are all of the comments there. So, gentlemen, we don't have any callers. We can wrap up.
Well, thank you again, Jamie, for anchoring another interesting
Junior will be back next week.
program.
I'm going to say that.
I think we have a people who are paying attention. In those comments, most of the comments, people are paying attention to the ebb and flow of the political arena, because that's where the political leaders come from. And I firmly believe, and I'm open to be challenged, that the days of the loyal section, the must win, must vote for me, those days are diminishing.
They're gone.
Well,
that's right. That's right.
Well,
The electorate has changed.
I could have argued up until the 1990s that both PAM and Labour had a 40%, 30%, 40% loyal following. I don't see that anymore, and that in the electorate, in the body of the electorate, there is a 60-70% whose vote has to be sought. Notice I didn't say bought. Sought. And so
this board, the political party gets support when they deserve it.
And I forgot the author of this. Another person said,
we don't know that to be a fact because Trump won.
Well, he won fairly.
We don't know if he deserved it.
He won fairly. Elections are won and lost by people who show up to vote, and he got his people out.
Elections have consequences.
And so the persons who have this must-win mentality in their head, I wish to have a conversation with them, because I don't accept that there's any must-win anyway. We have to fight.
And the politicians have to do the work.
Have to fight.
They have, and there are no. Well, apart from maybe constituency 6, there are no safe seats in St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, let me not speak for Nevis, but there are no safe seats in St. Kitts anymore.
Yeah, man.
Which one?
6 and 3.
Yeah, that's what I said. 3?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well,
but 6 maybe.
I think, well, I'm going to end by saying it's going to be a very, very hot topic when there's boundaries change.
Yeah.
The boundaries changing?
When there's boundaries
well, they have to change.
Well, we join the boundaries.
Yeah. They have
make
to
them
change.
constitutional. I
We are
think
still
all
waiting on
bets
that.
are off. We have
Still
a
waiting
new
on that.
calculus, and so again, I want to end by saying, we, the people, the electorate, have to insist on the political parties that they put up the best people to run, because we cannot afford idiots in Church Street. And where's the NIA located? And Charlestown. Cannot afford that.
Mr. Kondo, any final words?
Yeah, I think these are really interesting times.
Okay.
And people think, I think people don't give politics and politicians the credit and the admiration and think that is due. I say that this is something that I enjoy doing and will do it again.
You would?
I would do it again.
He has not thrown in the towel, that's what he said.
I will do it. Not now, not I'll
no,
go
I
back
understand.
to
I understand.
In a new life.
I don't know
new
what Dr.
conduct.
Martin was trying to do, but I understood what you meant.
That's the thing. And this is an honorable thing. This is a good thing. And people have to learn to differentiate between service to the people and parasites. I mean,
do we have a lot of parasites in politics?
I always saying that the most sacred duty of a citizen is to vote. Without government, life will be nasty, short, and brutish.
But I can.
There's nothing wrong with the politics. It is the people who are involved.
I can also understand that sometimes people become disenchanted with politicians, as the person wrote that. The person wrote that all the politicians bad.
Yeah,
no,
all the
right?
politicians.
But people have that notion that a lot of times people enter politics not for the good that they can do for the people, but the good that they can do for themselves.
Absolutely.
Right? So that makes people not really want to go out to vote. So it is the politician's job and the job of conversations such as these to educate people about the importance of making the right decision.
So, my good people, that clip you will not find on Freedom FM anymore, because that was mysteriously removed or disappeared following that conversation, because I'm pretty sure the smart Labour administration would not want to hear that after winning 6 seats in 22, they cannot even muster up to 34 months later. So I could understand that. My good people, my final clip for this evening would be a clip that I choose to play of a young lady by the name of Release Brooks. She had been also following the political landscape in our beloved federation, and she asked that we share this information. So I will give her that plug, because basically what she's saying is some of the things I've been saying for some time. So let's take a quick listen to Sister Release Brooks.
Insightful, engaging, dynamic, authentic, empowering, informative, transformative, controversial, unbiased, impactful. This is Politics Aside with Release Brooks.
Well, with the United States of America. So many people ask me if I'm going to speak about the USA election results. And the answer is nope. Nope, because so many people have had very intense emotional reactions, especially the diaspora. And I'm not gonna, maybe if I had lived there then, but I'm going to let everybody have their moment. Let the Dems have their moment. Let the Repubs have their moment, But it has been just about 2.5 years since St. Kitts and Nevis elected a new administration to work for them. And that means we're also 2.5 years just about to the next election. We know across the academic year, exam season is approaching. So what we're going to do on this episode of Politics Aside, we're going to take a look back at the now Prime Minister's pledge and just some mandates that were put forward by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party in their 2022 manifesto. It's easy if I just speak according to my own accord. It's easy for me to be pinned as biased, right? So I don't want that. It's going to be unbiased all the way, politics aside. We want to be objective, and I want to remain authentic. And so to bring all of those nice qualities together, we have to pull the facts. And here are the facts. You're going to see the pledge by Dr. Drew himself, and we're going to go through just some parts of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party 2022 manifesto. And this is warm up because we don't have a lot of time left. And I want the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to be the judge, the residents, the people who live there, and those in the diaspora. I want you to tune in, and I want you to journey with me to the next general elections of St. Kitts and Nevis. So here goes Dr. Drew's pledge.
I pledge to be the change I wish to see in my country. I pledge to be a fierce protective advocate for the people. I pledge to uphold the law and respect the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis at all times. I pledge to always be guided by the voice of the people. I pledge never to forget that I am the people's servant. I am so very proud to lead a dedicated and experienced team of servant leaders who will work with me in cabinet to bring stability, integrity, rule of law, and social justice back to our country. The world is watching, and together, my team and I will ensure that our great federation is brought to number one again, and that no man, woman, or child is left behind or are excluded from our national prosperity agenda.
That our great federation is brought to number one again. Yes. Every citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis want that. And if you want to go back and listen that pledge again, you can do it. We might even try to get it transcribed so we can see that pledge. Sometimes people need reminders. It's human nature. We have that system of forgetfulness kind of built in within us. We forget. And sometimes people need their reminders. So if anybody, if you can even share this with Dr. Drew, and so he kind of have that pledge again at the forefront of his mind. And so basically the end result, what we want to see is St. Kitts and Nevis at number one, and no man, woman, or child left behind. Where are we now? We have some facts. We see where CBI is at. Can we pull back in 2.5 years? We see where the crime rate is at now. I'm not making up these facts, and I'm not fighting. I know the labor rights can be rude, but guys, girls, women, we're having a discussion. Let's talk. If you want to jump on this with me and we go facts to facts, We can do that too, because the people will have to be the judge. I'm just here to provide a platform. I'm just here to open up the room and make space for well-needed discussions. And in order to do this, we definitely have to discuss the elephants in the room, no matter how big they are. Otherwise, what we will see is the total opposite of what we want. So if we ask ourselves, where is our CBI today compared to where it was in 2022? If we ask ourselves, where is our crime rate today compared to where it was in 2022? If we ask ourselves, how is the economy doing today compared to where it was in 2022, even in the face of COVID-19? These are questions we have to ask ourselves. There is no way around it. And I, for one, am not even going around it. You know, it is what it is. We are where we are. And we have 2.5 more years, plus or minus, to try and get St. Kitts and Nevis on the right tracks, at least. So we're going to go and we're going to show you some of the promises that were made. I don't even like to use the word promises, but some of the mandates that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party decided to run on. And as a result, the administration is obliged to fulfill. Let's get into it. Yeah, a better way. You people have to decide. So one of the big thing was about the post-COVID reset. And we're going to see, we're going to just fly through. Let's just fly through. Okay, so extend for another 6 months the COVID relief income support in the amount of $1,500 per month for unemployed person. I need somebody to tell me, somebody who have been unemployed. Can we put that back up, please? To tell me if this was fulfilled. The income support mechanism will then be replaced by a permanent unemployment insurance facility in the amount of $750 EC. Where is this unemployed insurance facility today? Can somebody tell me where we are with that? Next, raise the national minimum wage to 500 EC weekly. I think something was done. I believe they started the process. Can we put that back up? They started the process, and I think it was at 400 and something. And I know people are expecting that in the next 2.5 years, we will be at 500 weekly. Let's keep going. Reduce the VAT rate from 17% to 13%. We would love that. Eliminate all VAT on taxes. Let's get that 13% in the next 2.5 years. That'll be a big, big, big one. Let's continue. Attract at least 2 new 5-star hotels. Have 2.5 years to see something, to hear something. Create new green jobs by establishing stronger public-private partnership, developing recycling plants, etc., water catchment tanks. People are crying out about the water situation. I mean, like I said, I'm just here to bring the facts and to remind everybody, including the administration, because people forget. People forget, and sometimes we have emergencies, and so we have to deal with that emergency. But let's get back on track. legalize and stimulate a medical marijuana industry. We're still waiting on this. There has been so much controversy regarding our marijuana committee. I have no comments to make on that, but we're waiting. We are waiting. We want to see some progress here. Next. All right. Well, 6 months done gone, long time, but conduct a national consultation on parental leave for employees. Can somebody tell me if they have any idea if this has been done? Improve the PAP program and provide $700 to $1,500 a month. Well, you can take that down. Well, the PAP, that was a big one. The PAP program was a big running point on the 2022 campaign. I remember Dr. Harris, leader of the PLP, I believe PLP had a mandate to increase the PAP to, I'm not sure of the exact amount, right? And then we see the SKNLP also had the same mandate of increasing the PAP. And my question to you is, where is the PAP today? How much is the PAP today? That's all. I don't have anything else to say. I won't be accused of being anything. The question, though, is where is the PAP today? How much has the PAP been increased by today? How many people are on the PAP today? And is there a PAP still? Let's keep it going. 2.5 years to go. Let's keep it going. Reaffirm all watershed areas and aquifers as protected areas. This should be a big part of our sustainable island state agenda. I look forward to seeing this and the unveiling of a new plan to restore 24/7 water supply for all of St. Kitts and Nevis. The concerns regarding water in St. Kitts and Nevis, they have grown drastically. I don't know what has changed beside the drilling of the well in Keon. Why now so many other areas in St. Kitts particularly are now experiencing unprecedented water issue? I want to know, and people want to know the why. It's okay that we don't have everything needed to fix all the water issues, but just tell us this one thing. Why now so many areas in St. Kitts particularly have been experiencing unprecedented water issues? Just why? What is the reason? Call upon the water engineers to explain for us. Moving right along, improve the peace program. The second point, all essential service personnel, such as our police, defense force, firemen and women, nurses and sanitation officers will receive a housing allowance. I'm curious to know. The job descriptions or the occupations identify, I believe, sounds mostly like essential workers. And the mandate there is to give these essential workers housing allowance. I would like to know if this mandate is being fulfilled. Just let me know. As far as the peace program concerned, we know the peace was a big issue, for our 2022 general elections. So much was said, so much, I'm telling you, the things that were said and to describe the peace, to describe people on the peace, to describe the system of the peace program. The truth is, nothing is perfect. The peace program was a fairly new initiative for St. Kitts. It is an initiative that Barbados has adopted. I think our good Dr. Sean Richards actually did his thesis on the peace program, and I am not going into that. But people fear what they don't understand. That is a principle, that is a universal principle. So it is easy to come up with your own theory. It is easy to create your own rumor, when you don't understand something. But what I want to ask us today, according to the statistics, according to the math, according to the numbers, do we feel safer now than we did in 2022, 2021, 2020? If yes, voila. If no, voila too. We have to be the judges. And I'm just doing a comparative analysis. I'm just bringing some remembrance back to the community. So share this.
Yes, my good people. So that is Sister Willis Brooks giving her views on the state of affairs in our beloved Federation. And I welcome that conversation. Now, as we get closer to our closing time, I got to drop you a track here that was done by my boy there, the man, Lord Ranger, out of Sandy Point, St. Kitts, by way of Anguilla, who now resides in the UK. But this song fits the order of the day. Want of positions by these politicians.
Are you ready, everybody, to go along with me and change the whole situation here in this country? The jealousy and envy crippling me all the time. When people here in this country, all they do is sit back and lie. But the man with intention to struggle on, all he get is nothing but scorn. And when he start to rise, only then people criticize. But when they want high position, they would lie, they would fight, even take another's life. Oh, pressing the poor man till he die. It ain't right, it's creating towards strife. Instead of working hard to move forward, all they do is playing backyard, doing so much wrong because they want a high position. society. They must fight day and night with good capability. But when he gain high authority, they still think it's too good for him. So they will find any way to keep him down, even spread rumors around or some other plans. For they're jealous, demand position. And then for want of position, they would lie, they would fight, even take another's life. Oppressing the poor man till he die. It ain't right, it's creating jokes. Or if a poor hungry man have a destination to rule over this nation, don't care what you do, he will still have position over you.
Come on.
Yeah. Please don't blame me, for I see corruption in this country. The iron hand preventing man from being what he should be. But I won't, for I should tell it all to the whole nation that the men who created corruption are them same politicians. They will go around cussing each other down, creating strife among my people. And while we fight one another, they in hotel drinking together. And then for want of position, they will lie, they will fight, even take another's life. Oppressing the poor man till he die, day night. That's why my people lose. But when them politicians run election and say they want to help the nation, well, that isn't true. They just want position over me and you. Oh yes, that isn't true. They just want position over me and you. You could tell them again that that isn't true. They just want position over me and you. Oh yes, that isn't true. They just want position over me and you.
Yes, my good people, you heard it right. That isn't true. They just want position over me and you. These politicians, boy, we really have to find some good independence. Someone suggested we need to order some politician from Amazon, but sometimes things come from Amazon broken as well. So we have to do our own digging right there in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. My good people, as I come to the close of this podcast, I want to big up the good folks there at Island Purified Water, Main Street, Newton Ground, St. Kitts. I want to thank Brother Powell and his team to keep the DJ hydrated when he's in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. I'll be seeing you guys shortly. And also want to big up my boy there, Brother Eustace Warren. I hope you're doing well, my brother. Warner's one stop. My cousin there, Gloria Hutchinson. That's over there, Smart Fit, Central Street, Bastia, St. Kitts. My boy, Brother Romeo Paris there at the Paris Pharmacy in Bastia, St. Kitts. My boy Tango, they are the Tango Tire Repair. How about the good people there at the Fritz, Jeff Fritz and Son Enterprises, the bakery there in Molyneux, St. Kitts. Big up to yourself, Brother Jeff Fritz. The good people there at Fritz Bakery there at Boreal Road there in St. Kitts. Also want to touch my boy, the Brother Peter Jenkins. How are you doing? Jenkins Funeral Home. Remember, they don't refuse anyone over there. So remember, when you check with your boy Peter, they allow you to check in, but you don't check out. Touch my boy, the Brother Peter Sadler Funeral Home there in Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts as well. They welcome you there because once you check in, you don't check out. I want to big up my boy Laro. Brother Laro Laplace, how are you doing there? Hope all is well with you, my brother. I heard you had a splendid weekend without the DJ. Things good with you? I like that. Well, my good people, gonna drop the unofficial anthem of St. Kitts and Nevis at this time. This one is called Arise by the late, great, the King Arrow. our messenger of our beloved Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, and my girl sister Hazel Claxton. She loved this one. So I just want to tell Hazel, I know the lyrics. You should be listening to the lyrics, not the music. That's why you're going to get back pain when you finish jumping to these things. I want to big up my baby girl there. My baby girl love to see her daddy. We've been having a good time. I also want to pick up Sister Nelta Robinson. How about Sister Beverly Maurish? I hope all is well. Gwyneth Maurish, my mascot there, Sister Dorothy Allen. I want to touch my folks there over in the Tobago area. My missionary there, Sister Deborah Wallace, the man Roger Wallace. How about Gloria Beard, Victor Beard, Melissa Beard, and crew. I want to touch my folks there in Trinidad and Tobago. The man Donald Ramsey, Chanel, and the grandkids, hope all is well. Let's touch my daughter there, Sister Rachel Maurish, across there in the Ohio area. How are you doing? How is the grandkids? How is your mom? Also want to big up my son there, Jeffrey Jr. in the LA area. Heard you guys having some issues there at this time. How is Sister Jazz doing? Hope all is well. Touching my sister Esther there in Tortola, with the Mokish and the kids. Hope all is well with you guys and that end. My uncle there, Eustace in St. Croix. Bigging you up. My brother Carl Morris there in St. Thomas. Hope all is well with you. How is Sister Valicia Morris, the man Sour, Avon Brown, Patsy Brown, Mary Alfred crew. Hope all is well with you guys. The man Desmond Hicks. Brother Austin Williams, my boy Carbo. Hope all is good with you, my brother. You know, I can't call everybody name. I'll be here all evening. But I just want to big up everyone and let them know how things going. Sister Una, how you doing? Hope all is well with you. My good boy there, the man, Brother Malvin Herbert. Thank you for your accommodation, my brother. Hope all is well with you. And Brother Cardell, hope all is good. And the home front. I also want to big up my boy there, the man Julian Pemberton. How is the man Luther Kelly and the team there? The man Giza. Hope all is well with you there. How is the pork coming? Getting ready to have some pork for the music fest, I would assume. The King Arrow, arise.
masses building a wall so massive or a bridge, don't care how small, as one tends to divide our people, the other unite us all. Unambitious men just cannot be a part of this community. Displaying selfishness, a total lack of interest. No, I said no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct all mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Can your conscience be clear? Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically. Hatred for a brother, cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct all mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, and that brings us to the end of yet another successful podcast for this evening, Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I want to big up my engineer there, the man Ike, the hardest working engineer at the moment, doing whatever he can to restore my live feed. Also want to big up Sister Cora Bennett for your continued support in the DJ Mauritius podcast. My cousin Kent there in St. Thomas, Sister Pam Bunny, how you guys doing? Hope all is well. Brother Benter, hope all is well with you. I want to touch my folks there across in the UK there. Sister Yvonne, hope all is well with you. Sandra, my girl Millie, hope all is well with you. How about my sister there, Sister Jennifer? How are you doing? The man Jermaine, Clive, hope all is well with you guys. And the madam, hope all is well. Sister Haley Phipps over there in Scotland, and the kids, hope you guys are doing well. Sister Deidre Farrell Smith, hope all is good with you. My good people, as I bid you good evening, look forward to yet another podcast next Wednesday as we continue to bring you the information.